Good to be back.
He's back. Who's bad?
You gentlemen are far too funny, isolating.
Oh dear.
Anyone would have thought you'd won the Australian Open, bro.
I know the amount of applause there. Wow. Yeah.
Look, I got to tell you, I watched the women's final last night, and I watched the two semi-finals. What a match! And I have to tell you something. I'm looking forward after the show. There'll be the final. But Simon, I've got to give all credit to the people of Melbourne and Aussie. Boy, they know how to put on a party. Well done, bro.
Yeah.
Hey.
Fantastic, huh? That's how we do it here in Australia. Aussies, diehard Aussies. We party like that.
Yeah, what a big party. Good to have you back, bro. It's been a while. I know that you've been we had our summer break, Simon, which is always good to have our break.
I know.
And then
In December.
Yeah. And we came back a couple of weeks, and Brad had an opportunity to bugger off and enjoy some extra sun. Why not, bro?
Yeah, flew off to wonderful Bali and
beautiful.
Spent some good hard-earned money there and helped out some of the locals, and then head on back to Australia to get real about life again and save up it all again.
Yeah,
you're also.
Stop messing about and get back to work. Absolutely.
When do you start work? Tomorrow?
No, I started work this week, just gone on Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever it was. It was 48 degrees here, and absolutely a night. That's Celsius for people who don't know what 48 degrees is.
It's real temperature.
And that's hot here in Melbourne. That's dry heat too. That was horrific, and it just annihilated us for the rest of the week too. Just dehydrated the rest of the week and felt like heat exhausted all week. But I'm sure any other Melbourneites would be able to comment. If John ZD351's here yet, I'm not sure, but I'm sure he'll contest that it was a horrible day. The weather was horrific, but it was record heat, probably the hottest we've had in a long, long, long time.
Well, it's summer, bro, so we'll take it.
Well, let's do a shout out to all our friends in the US who are currently suffering ice storms, snow all over the place. I mean, Nashville's got absolutely nailed by, which doesn't normally happen. I have a friend who lives in Austin, Texas, and they've had snow in Austin as well.
Wow.
Stopped her moving house. But so I think all over, And I was talking to Carlos Figueroa yesterday. They had like about 8 inches of snow on Monday. The snow day. Couldn't go to work on last Monday. But, right, the rest of the week. So shout out to anybody who's having aggravation because of the snow, because I know a lot of people without power and all sorts of stuff. So
awesome. All right, bro. Good to have you back. Thank you for coming back. We were a little bit concerned there. Simon.
We informed the police. We informed the police. When that cook boy comes back, get him back. Get him over here quick. He's messed about too much.
I thought you might be, God, we finally got rid of him, Simon. Far out.
No, it's worse than that. Get your ass back here and stop messing about.
We had Carl pull in for a couple of shows, so we want to do a shout out to Carl too.
Great to be honest with him. Really good.
and he'll pop on and do some more stuff with us during the year too. So we look forward to that.
Right.
So guys, last couple of days, some information was dropped on social media of, we knew who the guys were that were going to act as the Beatles in the new upcoming docu
Sam Mendes
film, whatever it's called. We knew who they were, but they've released some stills of them, Brad and Simon, in kind of costume. And they, from what I've seen, we haven't seen any video though, but it's just stills and looks pretty good. Can't fault so far what we've seen, Brad.
The 4 photos I saw, which is one of each member, it was pretty convincing, and I'm pretty sure in a film context that you would fall into the film and start relating the characters as, you know, John, Paul, George, and Ringo. They look pretty convincing. I wasn't convinced when they first initially announced who they were, and it usually goes, you know, makeup and hair and makeup and all that sort of stuff goes a long way, as you can tell.
Do you think they have to be lookalikes?
I don't think they have to be identical, but they've got to be convincing enough to make you fall into the film a little bit. I think if you're not convinced, it's hard to get into the film.
Helps.
It certainly helps.
Helps.
You know,
Stop that.
You know, we'll look at Tim playing Dylan recently, and also the guy acting as Springsteen recently. You know, the efforts that they went to sort of resemble. You know,
well, I didn't feel particularly as though Jeremy Allen White looked like Springsteen, but it didn't spoil my enjoyment of the film at all.
No.
I mean, it was fine. I didn't feel as though he needed to be much of a, you know, a lookalike, particularly. I mean, he had sort of, you know, vaguely the same hair and, you know, wore a few of the same clothes. But
Tim pulled off doing pretty well.
Yeah, so it's closer. As I say, I think those, you know, close enough for me. I don't think Timothée Chalamet, you know, didn't put me off the Dylan film either. I thought he was really good in it, and it was a good film. You know, it's but I didn't feel like he had to look just like Dylan, kind of thing. You know.
Well, I suppose the real hard casting issue, I suppose, is going to be, and they're in discussion now with Alex Van Halen, is the guy that's going to act as Eddie Van Halen.
Is that the definition of a thankless task?
I think so.
Yeah, I do as well. Get mown over by the Van Halen community for what you didn't do, could have done, should have done. Doesn't sound like any fun to me.
We haven't heard anything official. The last Van Halen show, well, the first Van Halen show that we did with John, you know, he mentioned a little bit of that. You know, Alex is seeing producers now, talking to producers and directors now about it, Brad. So obviously, you know, the Van Halen show here on the channel will keep people up to date with any information and thoughts and opinions as it comes, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's what's the story, isn't it? What, I mean, to me, all those films are about what is the story.
Good.
You know, what are you hanging? You know, is it, you're going to have a biopic? That's fine. You can you know, you can have a sort of Elton John, Queen type biopic, or you can have a bit more of an existential thing, like the, you know, Reason to Believe, where, you know, you're using the character to hang some things on, but, you know, it's an interior journey, which is a completely different thing. So I think you've got to decide what your story is, what your arc of that story is. You know,
well, I'll tell you now what I think it is. It'll be Alex Van Halen's interpretation and guiding the script of Van Halen starting out. It'll be them breaking. It'll be them breaking and recording their first album. When you look at the last biography that he wrote, it was all about that era, wasn't it, Brad? So, Brothers. So, if I take a stab in the dark, Simon, I say
wild stab in the dark.
It'll be that kind of scenario. But you know, I'll still enjoy it. We'll go and see it, and we'll have a show here on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing that too. But we'll see how that one pans out.
Yeah. And the Beatles one, obviously too. We'll definitely be going to see that. So
yeah. Well, it's going to be 4 films, isn't it? from my understanding.
So
Yeah.
we'll probably be doing a few Beatles shows, folks, during the next couple of years.
Look at that. Look at us planning ahead the next couple of years.
Yeah. Bro, so I understand you've got some great news to tell us.
Yes, my mum's
yes.
birthday. So I want to wish my mum a very happy birthday. I don't know whether she'll be in the chat today or not. I think she's probably off partying somewhere, doing something.
I
recovering,
hope she is.
recovering. Yes, absolutely.
Yes. It was my mum's birthday yesterday, so I want to wish her a very happy birthday. And,
happy birthday, Ellen. Fantastic.
All know, my mum's a regular in the chat here, so hopefully everyone can wish her a very, happy birthday in the chat there and in the comment section later as well. Yeah.
Happy
birthday,
21st,
Alan. Yes, you got it, Simon.
Yeah.
21st.
Yeah, that's it.
21st.
That's it. Yeah.
She's a big part of the show, so obviously we wish you well and all the best as well. And so we do look forward to a couple of things coming up, and obviously the rankings of the tracks as they come through. And I'll let you guys know now, while it comes to my mind, we're going to do a bit of a shout out at the end of the show, but we're not doing a show this time next week. So we just got some things that we have to do. So the channel is down next week, but we'll back. And I think it's my pick.
It is your pick, sir. The boss's pick.
Hey, here she is.
Yes.
The party girl is here. Ellen, happy birthday.
She was waiting. I hope those rap bags mention my. I hope.
I'm not coming on unless they're quite right.
I'm here supporting these idiots week in and week out.
I get nothing. Yeah. There you go. She's been.
I hope you had a lovely birthday.
She's been lurking, and now she's back. So she's on a birthday holiday. So she's in Gundagai at the moment. Yeah, I wasn't sure if she was going to show up.
Where is Gundagai?
Just look it up on Google Maps, mate. I can't explain it.
It's in the middle of nowhere.
It's a really odd location to go for a break, but they like the swimming at the pool there and all that.
Oh.
So it's a no, you can't beat the pool. That's it.
No.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Alan, please get into lots of trouble too while you're there. All right. No point going away on holiday and not getting into trouble.
Yeah, Gundagai's between Melbourne and Sydney, so it's on the way. Yeah.
Here we are.
Yes, and so that's pretty much all I needed to talk about Andrew and Simon this week. Other than we're back.
Gundagai sounds a lot like Gun Gallon from McLeod's Daughters.
Oh, does it? It does too.
Gun Gallon.
Are you a McLeod's Daughter fan, Andrew? What?
Oh yeah. I watched every episode, mate. I thought it was incredible TV. Incredible. They don't make TV like that anymore. No, it's not political. There's no woke crap in it. It's just telling stories about people in a rural life and how they're trying to earn a living and the struggles of that. It's just an incredible story. They'll never do that again.
No.
If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. Yeah,
that is true. That is very true. Yeah. Well, guys, we're back. Well, what can I say? You guys have already done a couple of episodes. But we're back. The three amigos. Triple threat.
Right.
Well, you better kick off together.
You better kick it off, bro, because you've picked this very, very interesting album.
Yes. Well, welcome back to the show, guys. Today we're diving into Imagine, which is John Lennon's second solo album released. He released it on the 9th of September 1971 through Apple Records, co-produced by Lennon himself, Yoko Ono, and Phil Spector. The album showcased a polished, layered sound that was a clear shift from his first album, which is very minimalistic, the John Lennon Plastic Ono Band in 1970. Its opening track, Imagine, would go on to become one of Lennon's signature songs and one of the most recognizable anthems of his career. The recording began in early 71 with sessions at Lennon's Ascot Sound Studios in Tittenhurst Park. He also recorded in EMI Recording Studios in London and later Record Plant in New York City. The album featured an impressive lineup of musicians. George Harrison contributed lead and slide guitar on about half the tracks. Keyboardist Nicky Hopkins, bassist Klaus Vormann. I hope I pronounced that correct.
Klaus Vormann. Yep.
Yes, Klaus. Yes.
Klaus.
How do you say that, Simon?
Klaus Vormann.
Klaus Vormann. I'll try and pronounce that proper. So I'm an Aussie, so we pronounce things differently here.
Yeah, no.
And drummers Alan White and Jim Keltner, members of Badfinger, also participated, adding texture to the sessions. In New York, Lennon and Harrison jammed briefly, which led to Harrison agreeing to play on the album and suggested Klaus Vormann to join them, and then the collaboration sort of shaped the core and sound of the album. The main sessions officially began on 24th of May 1971 at Ascot Sound after initial February recordings for Lennon's single Power to the People. Tracks like It's So Hard and I Don't Want to Be a Soldier were the first recorded during these early sessions. And they also recorded, I believe, a cover of a 1958 song, Well, Baby, Please Don't Go, which was obviously later released on one of the John Lennon anthology box sets. I think during that session, he included some demos, which may have been Imagine and San Francisco Bay Blues, I think, and a song called I Am the Greatest. In July, Lennon and Yoko moved to New York Record Plant, where mainly instrumental parts were reworked, strings and saxophone contributions were added, and tracks were completed there. It's So Hard, I Don't Want to Be a Soldier, and How Do You Sleep were added later. Phil Spector returned as co-producer, though the album avoided his typical wall of sound approach. The personal context and tensions. Well, Imagine was written during a tense period for Lennon and Paul McCartney. During the Beatles' breakup, McCartney successfully took legal action to dissolve their partnership, and this tension is most famously expressed on one of the tracks on this album called How Do You Sleep, a track aimed directly at Paul McCartney, written in response to what Lennon saw as a personal attack on him and Yoko in McCartney's Ram album. Lennon later said it was he channeled his resentment into the song rather than holding it. So rather than holding a grudge. There's documentary footage that was filmed, and it was meant to be under the working title Working Class Hero. Footage later aired on the Old Grey Whistle Test in 1972, and also appeared in the 1988 documentary Imagine, John Lennon. Imagine was, a commercial and critical success, reaching number one on both the UK charts and the US Billboard 200. Alongside John Lennon, Plastic Ono Band, it's considered one of Lennon's finest solo works. In 2012, it was ranked 80th on the Rolling Stones list of 500 greatest albums of all time. The album has been reissued, remixed, remastered, box setted, notably in 2018 as the Ultimate Collection. It's a 6-disc box set. I nearly stuffed that up. 6-disc box featuring demos and outtakes, and track evolutions, isolated elements, and surround sound mixes, which is very interesting to go and listen to some of that stuff. I've only listened to what's on Spotify just in preparation to this show. I've only ever listened to that stuff once before. But to summarize, Imagine balances, personal reflection, political commentary, and musical variety. The core personnel on the album was Lennon, Harrison, Hopkins, Warman, White, and Keltner, and occasional contributions from King Curtis and Phil Spector create a cohesive yet versatile sound. Each track is carefully arranged to match its theme: intimate confession, global idolism, rock energy, or political anger. The album remains a milestone in Lennon's solo career, showcasing his songwriting, emotional honesty, and ability to assemble top-tier musicians to bring his vision to life. In closing, Imagine captures Lennon at a crossroads in his life, balancing personal reflection, political conviction, and accessible songwriting, and remains the defining statement in his post-Beatle career. Guys, that's all I've got really to say other than my track analysis. So do you guys want to add anything to that, or have I missed anything in particular that you would like to add?
Simon?
No, nothing in particular other than that. It's I've had this record a long time. I've had it since I worked in a record shop in the early 80s, so that's why I came across it. It's my friend Gerard introduced me to the solo Beatles works, and so I picked this up. So I've had it, not in a cupboard with a TV in front of it and stuff. So I can't get it out, but yeah, I've had it for a long time. I'll play it occasionally, just to
yeah. Andrew, anything you want to add, or you want to wait till your track rankings?
No, we'll wait for the track rankings, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you for the in-depth introduction. And you have to move. You have to get that TV moved, Simon, so you can dig out these golden vinyls.
I'll be doing that in the next week. Interestingly, it's interesting that John Lennon did a recording of a San Francisco Bay Blues, which of course Paul McCartney did it on his Unplugged record as well.
That's right.
They can't stop their lives being intertwined.
No. I'm glad you brought that up, because I didn't even think of that. That's a very crossover there. I mean, there was always crossover after Lennon died too, with Paul McCartney, and obviously they were brothers and they were family, and they had their squabbles over legal issues, but they still loved each other. So, guys, we'll dive into the track rankings and analysis.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So, Imagine. This is the opening track on the solo album, Imagine, and it has really become one of his signature songs, built around a simple piano sort of motif. The arrangement gradually layers strings for a serene, uplifting feel. Lyrically, it's a utopian vision of peace and unity, asking listeners to imagine a world without borders, religion, or possessions. Ono's influence is evident on this song, and the message that the song portrays. The song's accessibility, it's combined with idolism, gives a timeless cultural resonance. The musicianship is simple and minimalistic. The bass and drums are basically just there to support the piano and the orchestration of the song. I think the orchestral work is very fitting. It's not overpowering. It complements the song. Great vocal delivery. Lyrically, well, there's things in it that sort of resonate with me, and there's things that don't. But I have to give the song, for what it is. It's a song, like I said, it was a vision that Yoko and John had of a utopian vision of peace and unity. So I'm going to give the song 100 out of 10 for that. Give it 100 out of 10 and never a skip, guys, because it is a remarkable song and a very important song in Lennon's career. Andrew.
Yeah, I agree with you, bro. And it's one of those interesting songs, isn't it? That when you hear it on the radio or at a party or whatever, those first two notes, it's like that guitar solos, you know when there's two notes, Simon, being plucked, you know, oh, that's Stevie Ray Vaughan, you know, and you know, ding, you know, straight away that's Imagine. And that's the key, isn't it, clearly, to a great song, when you can just have two notes and you know what it is. So for that, you know, it's an incredible song. I think what we have to also remember too, and sometimes I think we forget this, is that John Lennon and Paul McCartney, you know, took piano playing very, very seriously, you know, and especially as their songwriting matured and they could understand a little bit more musically through the keyboards. It was just another tool as opposed to the guitar that aided them. And, you know, they're very, very good piano players. And, you know, I don't know anything about playing a piano. I can only use my ears to gauge it, Brad. And this sounds pretty good to me. As you said, it's become an anthem over the years. In Central Park there, not far from where he was gunned down, they've got the, you know, the John Lennon Memorial with the big Imagine there. And every year, you know, people get together on his anniversary of his death. And I follow and watch a lot of those video uploaded to to YouTube, where lots of people like us, random dudes, are singing Beatles and John Lennon songs. It's incredible. I love it, you know, and that just goes to the power of, you know, John Lennon's simple messages going back, you know, when they were in the Beatles, you know, love, love, love. Now it's imagine. And I think that's fantastic. You know, it's a good message. Like you know, like you, it's you know, it's become an anthem. In my mind, it's not Lennon's anthem, but we'll talk about that later on. But it is clearly, you know, it clearly is an anthem, and I have to agree with you, Brad. I think it's an incredible song. I've given it a Brad score too, never a skip. And out of all the songs on this album, this is the song that had to open this album, so they definitely got that right, Simon. So.
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
Interestingly enough, they gave Yoko Ono a credit on this later, because it was heavily influenced from one of her books, I believe. Or anyway, Simon, over to you. I don't want to get on your toast, because I feel like you being the rock professor, you're probably going to bring this up. So,
Alan, have a lovely dinner.
Have a great dinner.
Yeah. So yes, I mean it's the classic, isn't it? You know, it's a sort of probably the song that sums up John Lennon more than anything else, really, of his career. It's certainly his solo career, and it's, you know, deceptively simple on the surface, but it's, you know, it's packed with typical Lennon big ideas. You know, peace without borders, critique of religion, anti-materialism, shared humanity, utopian idealism, personal responsibility, present focus living, non-violent change. And all these things are in, you know, what first glance looks like a fairly simple song, but actually contains a lot of big ideas that, you know, he touches on in the lyrics. I think it's you know, and things like when he sings, you know, imagine there's no future, and then there's those pauses that let you imagine what he's just sung about. Which is, I think there's a whole lot of how it's arranged and how it's played and how it's done that that make it such a great song, really, and it clearly resonates today. Resonated ever since he recorded, which is 50 years ago. So I agree entirely that it's a bona fide classic, and you know, as I say, it's kind of the one song, you know, that everyone's going to play from the Lennon catalog canon. You know, it was a hit before, it was a hit when he died. You know, it carries on having a resonance to us and people who come after us. I too gave it 100 out of 10, and never a skip either. I think it's a beautiful song, and I think the piano playing particularly got some lovely bits in it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a beautiful song. Yeah, and I was just saying, obviously, Yoko got credit on that later. Only about 5 or 6 years ago, they decided to give Yoko credit on that because of the lyrical content. Was a lot of it was coming from her book or something I read somewhere. So anyway, we'll move to the next track, "Crippled Inside." I really enjoyed this track, and this is the first song that features Mr. George Harrison playing the dobro slide, which I think it's fantastic. It's a playful, slightly country-infused rock tune. It's got the lyrics, a critique, hypocrisy, and moral posturing, while the syncopated rhythm and the bright piano give it a light, almost whimsical feel. Harrison's dobro adds that distinctive twang and complements Lennon's biting vocal delivery. The track shows Lennon's willingness to experiment with rootsy sounds while maintaining a pop sensibility. I love Lennon's intro guitar playing there. I'm assuming it's John Lennon because there's only 2 guitar players, and it sounds like something Lennon would do. I love, George Harrison's slide, the dobro slide, the way he's doing it. And I think on this album in particular highlights Harrison's ability to play his slide really well. The musicianship is obviously world class. Lennon's obviously got a top tier run of musicians to perform the song. Great lyrics and vocal delivery. I thoroughly enjoyed listening to this song after having not heard it for many years. 10 out of 10 for me, guys, and never a skip. Andrew?
You need a few years of good acid to really appreciate it. What does this button do? Yeah, good to see you.
Nice.
Thanks for joining us again. Brad, look, this song's an incredible song because obviously it's got the dobro, and I love that. And we can see obviously that George is a master of that, and it's all over his solo album, and then he continues right through the 70s and the 80s playing it. So he's a master, and it's good to see his contribution on this song. I love the old time feel that you get off this track, and it kind of reminds me of something without the dobro that the Beatles would have done back in the skiffle days, Simon, as well. It's got that kind of earthy organicness to it, and I think that's one of the great things that this album has. It has those abilities to sort of pluck into certain areas and give you that experience. And coming from Imagine to this song with this sort of organic appreciation, and you might say, Brad and Simon, well, of course it's going to be organic because there's a dobro and there's a slide guitar on there. So where does that go back to? It goes back to the South. Okay, case closed, job done. The song's done exactly in everything I think that it's set out to do. And this is Lennon being a little bit clever by not being overtly bluesy, Simon, as well. And I like that. I dig that. Brad, I haven't quite given this a 10 out of 10. I've given this a 9 out of 10. And anything that George Harrison touches is always going to turn to gold. And it's certainly one of those great contributions that he's doing on this album. Love it. Simon?
Yes, there's that kind of the contrast between the kind of upbeat country sort of, as you said, feel contrast with the sort of the biting lyrics of mirroring how people hide flaws behind smiles and things. It's I agree. I wrote down that about the skiffle thing, Andrew. Skiffle musical. I could hear the people that came to mind. This has been so much in America. Jazz and Dave. If you heard of Jazz and Dave, this sits very much in in their area, they're a sort of a duo since the 70s. Really, they did kind of musical, kind of that kind of, but country-ish feel.
Yep.
Americana before it was Americana, I think, but also some kind of comedy stuff as well. Comedy songs. They had hits with sort of comic songs, but very much out of the musical tradition. And I thought this had a musical sort of tradition in it as well as the isn't it an upright bass? It's got that upright bass on it, hasn't it? That gives it that very
Sounds like it.
Gives it that feel.
Yeah, it's
and
good,
I think that and of course the great Nicky Hopkins on Honky Tonk Piano, which I think is the other bit of it, really. That nice solo from George Harrison, but I think the whole thing is pinned down by Nicky Hopkins's Honky Tonk Piano and the part that he plays.
That's a good point.
So I'm saying hats off to the Hopkins for bringing it and to the thing. Again, I'm with Andrew. 9 out of 10. Never a skip. It's a really jolly tune, and I like the contrast between the sort of the biting lyrics and the country sort of upbeat country feel of it.
100%.
Beautiful. Next track, guys. Jealous Guy. I guess written by John Lennon. This one does feature Nicky Hopkins on piano. I'm assuming that's him playing the intro piano because it's got that feel about it. It's a deeply introspective and vulnerable love ballad. It was originally written as Child of Nature during the Beatles' 1968 India sessions.
Yep.
Lennon reworked it into a confession of guilt and insecurity. The sparse piano and gentle rhythm section allows the emotional content to really shine through. It's vulnerable. It makes one of the most, enduring tracks in Lennon's solo career, in my opinion. There's some wonderful musicianship on this, some wonderful singing from Lennon. I really love the lyrical content. Goosebumps, they raise on my arms every time I listen to this song for some reason. I think it's Lennon's voice seems to naturally have that effect over me. The whistle solo, it's perfectly suited for the song. He could have put anything on there, a guitar solo, whatever he wanted, but it just sort of sits right, that whistle solo. I think it's a fantastic thing. The bass playing in this track is phenomenal. The drumming, Jim Keltner on drums, I believe. Great. The feel of the song is fantastic. Great lyrics, great vocal delivery, and one of my favorite tracks on I've got a few favorite tracks on the album, but this one's one of them. I gave it 100 out of 10, guys, and never skip. Andrew.
Well done. Hey, Drops, long time no see. Good to see you. Thank you for jumping
Drops. Good morning.
Thank you, Brad. Look, I'll have to agree with you. When we were talking about the first song, I mentioned that there's a couple of identifiable notes, and you know what the song is. So I'm going to say the same thing with Jealous Guy. You know from the notes that it's Jealous Guy from the piano. And let's be clear about this before we go any further. All right, this is the best version ever. All other covers are okay. The one that Brian Ferry did is okay. But if anybody is going to say it's better than this version, we've got problems.
Yes.
Well, anyway, I think it's better than
we got to make that quite clear. And Brad, you're right. It's a heartfelt apology with deep lyrics.
Yeah.
And thank you for doing the archaeology, because it's an old Beatles song, so it goes back a couple of years, so thank you, Brad, for highlighting that. I've got that note here. So it's an old song reworked. And if you've ever been in a situation where in your personal life where jealousy is reared its ugly head, personally, it's a very good song to reflect on, and I think that's one of the great things about songs, because while it sounds great musically, Simon and Brad, and wow, that distortion guitar is incredible and that bass is fine. If it's not having an effect on you in your heart and soul and in your mind, that's where the real magic is, in my opinion. And it's had personal effects on me over the years too, and I love it for that. I think it's one of the greatest songs. It's a love song, Brad and Simon. It's a love song.
It's hard to believe someone like John Lennon would be insecure, but he obviously had insecurities as well.
Wow. I just watched the Take That documentaries over the last couple of days, and Robbie Williams had the same thing, and his other band members couldn't work out because he was the most vocal, so it happens to, the people you least expect, bro. So you're right. Yeah.
I think you find lots of rock musicians are riddled with insecurities, and absolutely. I mean, I've countless interviews where rock musicians are saying that sort of thing. So I think it resonates.
Yeah, 100%. For me, Brad, this is the Lennon anthem of the 70s, followed by another song off Double Fantasy. But this is the song, Simon, that does it for me. This is the anthem. This is the one that I will cherish, and I just adore the song. So I have to give this a Hugh score. So if people aren't aware of what
a Hugh score, whoa.
And we don't know how the math works, but it's 8 million out of 10.
Anything over 10 out of 10 is the maths doesn't work, except man maths. Oh dear. Lovely.
Simon.
Cool. So as you said, it's I think the strings particularly reinforce the feel of the song. That kind of staccato string that they at the beginning kind of bring attention to it, which I think is really useful in that first bit, and they add a kind of fragility to the song. It's not kind of grand, big, sweeping, herds of wildebeest swinging majestic across the plains type of music. It's more of an interior thing than that. He's got quite a restrained delivery, Lennon. He's not, and I think myself that songs sung this way are much better and have a much greater feel than my favorite thing, the tremendous warbling of the great divas of it's not my. I prefer this kind of restraint business, and I think it enhances the feel of the song and the meaning of it as well. Whereas let's let Whitney Houston stop that now. But it's so. One thing that did strike me, the whistle solo. So, to me, I thought, blimey, it's like Dock of the Bay, Otis Redding, isn't it? It absolutely has that kind of whistle. And I wondered idly whether I wonder if it's a placeholder thing. When they're recording it, I wonder that he just whistled through it, and then we'll put something on that later. And then when you go back listen, you go, that really works. And Otis Redding's had a hit with a song where he does a whistling solo in it. So, I don't know, probably making too many leaps, but that's half the fun of it. It's a beautiful song, beautifully delivered, beautiful, with that restraint. 100 out of 10 from me, never a skip.
Yeah,
absolutely. Lennon can do a good ballad, can't he? Let's be fair.
100%.
Yeah, fantastic
Brad.
song. Still gives me goosebumps, that one.
Yeah,
every time. Next track 4. It's So Hard. This is a great song. It's got a real bluesy rocker feel that expresses life's frustrations. Lennon's raw vocal delivery here. It's got the staccato piano underlining the theme of the personal struggles. The saxophone, King Curtis saxophone here, adds that soulful punch to it. It's got strings on it. It gives it a bit of subtle depth to the song without overwhelming the track. And the song balances between like a rock energy, and it's got a lot of lyrical rhythm to it too, and intimacy. So I can hear some real signature John Lennon guitar playing here. Think Year Blues and whatnot. There's some great Lennon guitar playing here. I believe he's the only guitarist on this song. George Harrison doesn't play on this one. And I love the lead work that's on there. The vocal delivery is very raw and very edgy. Great lyrics. I think it's a fantastic song and slightly overlooked in Lennon's career. I gave it a 10 out of 10, guys, and never a skip. Yeah. Andrew.
One of the things I like about Lennon is his sense of humor. And he's given us songs through his career. I was going to say over the years, through his career of that sense of humor. And this to me is a fun song where Lennon's sense of humor is applied. And one of the great things that I like about Lennon on this album is that he's brave enough to do that. Still, he's got nothing to prove. And we're going to get that on some more tracks later on. He's got nothing to prove. So this is something clearly that he wants to do. I love the guitars. So we're assuming George is on the guitars here, Brad. We're assuming.
No, George is not on this one. From what I understand, anyway, I believe it's all John Lennon. Yeah, all
John. Okay,
yeah,
so if that's the case, then it's given it another point. Then if that's the case, because I think the guitars are incredible. So that gets a 9 out of 10. I originally gave it 8, but it's a great song. Would I skip it? No, not the song. It definitely has a role to play, and it's one of those burdens that a song has to bear when it follows a Brad score or a Hugh score song, Simon.
Tricky.
It's darn tricky, but I'm
Follow
happy with that. So, yeah. But I'm thank you for clarifying that. So the guitars are Lennon. So thank you, bro, for clarifying that. That's worth 0.9. Thank you, John. Simon.
I'm a bit more equivocal about this. I have to say, I when it comes in, I like the distorted guitar at the beginning, playing that kind of 12-bar thing. That's very John Lennon, as you said, Brad. It's kind of right in his wheelhouse, isn't it? And then you get this very strange King Curtis saxophone sound. It sounds like somebody playing along with a backing track. It's really dry and kind of there's no reverb on it at all.
That's the humor.
To be sounding just a bit odd. To be honest.
Yeah, exactly. It is odd.
Phil, what are you doing?
Sorry for interrupting. Shut up,
Spectre, what are you doing?
Shut up.
Can you do something with that?
He was told not
in the
to.
studio. Yeah, possibly boxed into a corner, but and only. So I think it's a song about based in physical earthly struggles. It's the saxophone does give it a claustrophobic kind of feel to it, which Lennon's quite a strained vocal timbre. Embodies the kind of effort and exhaustion. So there's a lot in it. As I say, I found the King Curtis thing a bit off-putting in a way, because it's one of those things. Once you've heard it, you can never unhear it.
100%.
Hate people pointing out stuff. I hadn't thought about that. Now I have, and now it's just a bit annoying. And also, could I say, at this stage, this is a purely personal prejudice on my half. Strings on rock and roll songs should be allowed. Stop that now.
Hey, Dwight.
That's Phil Spector. What do
Yeah,
you want?
I know. Yes. Morning, Dwight. How you doing? Hope you're good. It's nice to see you. But yeah, so I'm not a huge fan of the strings later on in the thing. I'd be on that button as well. Spectre, get those bloody strings out of here. Nobody wants that. I would have preferred to keep it more of a straightforward rock and roll thing. But you know, it's fine. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. But I wouldn't skip it. It works, but I don't think it's one of the major things. And has, as I say, these annoying bits that now I've heard them annoying me. Brad.
Yeah. I'm going to try and block that out of my head so they don't annoy me as
Yes,
well.
quite right. Yeah, yes. Block me out of your head.
Next track is the last one for side one, and I think it's a very cool way to end side one of what's been a pretty good side, really. Side one seems to be very direct and very much a John Lennon directive, like to make it this way, like each song is a non-skip sort of thing. It's called I Don't Want to Be a Soldier, Mama, I Don't Want to Die, and it does feature George Harrison on this one on slide guitar, and it's an anti-war manifesto, as Simon likes has brought that word into our vocabulary. Closing side one, it's musically very dense and chaotic. It mirrors the message of tension and personal conflict, social tension and personal conflict. I think Harrison's slide guitar adds a real sharp commentary to the song, while the late arrangement sort of has a dense. It's got it conveys a sense of unease. Basically, the song sounds very experimental. It contrasts with melodic clarity of other tracks, emphasizing Lennon's, activist edge in it. Obviously, it's definitely an anti-war song, and I think there's some great musicianship. The bass in this song is absolutely fantastic. I can't get enough of it. I think it's one of those tracks that you're locked into it. I love the room ambience on this one. I mean, from the track previous, Simon, to this one, there's a big room sound on this one, and I really dig this track. I'll be honest with you, gents, when I was a bit younger, this sometimes got skipped, this track, but now musically I'm right into this song, and it's only got, I don't know, 25, 30 words in the whole song, but it's just got a really cool feel to the song. I gave it 10 out of 10, guys, and never skip. Andrew?
Well, it's no Give Peace a Chance, and it's no Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young peace song. It's not anything that the Rolling Stones wrote that was a peace song. So I don't know, Brad, if it is a peace song, even though the words say that it is a peace song. In my opinion, if it's a manifesto that's failed as a peace song. So I think John, maybe, when you hear the music, it's chaotic, it's experimental, and I get where John is at this time in his career. So on the face of it, it might be, an anti-war song. Well, it is. But I think it's more deeper than that, and that's worth a point. But Brad, back in the day, I always skipped this song, and I'm gonna skip it again, and I'm gonna give it 5 out of 10 because John had George Harrison on it. Simon.
Oh, jeez. That's
sorry,
harsh.
bro. Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's not my favorite song, bro. Sorry, I don't dig it, bro.
Yeah, and I apologize, Brad. I'm in the Andrew camp. I understand that the kind of the way the music, that echo distorted guitar, and it's quite sort of minimal. There's minimal kind of harmonic movement in it. It's very hypnotic, repetitive, and that creates that that thing about, I understand that the sound is a creation of what it's like to be a soldier, the monotony, the war is an endless waiting game kind of thing. So I understand all of that, but I couldn't really engage with it. I kept thinking to myself, the morning, Tony, hope you're good. It's I want to do Roger Corman. There isn't a film been made that wouldn't do with 30 minutes cut off it and a good helicopter explosion. So, helicopter explosion will be very apposite, but
well done.
All right, 3 minutes. That's quite enough for that. Right, stop that now. So I'm afraid that it's got some nice slide guitar from George Harrison, and it's a very Spectre production. That big kind of that big sort of in the room sound and stuff is very Spectre, and it's I understand all of that, but as I say, I couldn't really engage with it. And as I wanted to stop it after 3 minutes, so I only gave it 6 out of 10. And sometimes a skip, I'd have to be in the mood really to take it. Sorry, Brad. It's
Look, I used to be where you guys were when I was younger, like I said, but the song has grown on me a lot more in the last few months of listening, because I've been focusing on listening to a lot of the Beatles solo material lately, just because sometimes I have a look at to listen to Beatles and I go, no, I'm going to listen to their solo stuff for a while. So it's grown on me, this song. I'll give it that.
Yeah. I promise I gave it a good try. I listened to it half a dozen times over the week. As I say, I couldn't really get past all right, edit it 3 minutes.
Well, at least you did that 5 times more than I did with this track.
It
might be, it might go on and drag on a little bit. I will say that. That's why I used to, give it the skip sometimes previously.
Yeah.
But,
sometimes.
Yeah. So we've got some photos to show here. Obviously, that's Phil Spector on the left, John on the right, which is a very cool pic.
And a wig.
Yeah. He looks pretty cool with that toupee, though. Come on. Well, he looked pretty cool.
That's not a wig. That's Alan White.
Yep, Alan White on the drums. I thought his contribution was very good on this album. Very good. Very great drummer. And that's a cool picture. And I like how they've morphed George Harrison right there on the right-hand side of the screen there on his, was it pale blue Stratocaster with maple neck. Beautiful sound that thing's got. And John with his Epiphone Casino. It's interesting how he continued to play that on this record. That's the album cover, obviously. Yeah, I love the sound of that guitar. It's great. And
I like how Alan White went on to be in Yes for 50 years.
Yes.
That's quite fun, isn't it?
Yes. Great band.
Yeah, fantastic. But it's quite different to this, though, isn't it?
100%.
Yeah,
This is stripped down.
It's a cool single cover. So imagine, very cool. Obviously, there's Phil Spector on the right, John in the middle, and the wonderful Yoko Ono on the left there,
sparking up.
Yeah. So she influenced John. Her influence on John, we all know that. We know what how heavily she influenced him. But I think that's a really cool picture. I always love that blue shirt he's wearing and how cool John looked here. You just had that vibe about him, like he just couldn't care less. He just wanted to be a musician. I love that,
And folks can go on YouTube and there's some video footage around this time too. So go and check it out. It's well worth it.
Oh, it's wonderful. I really enjoy watching all the
He's got a sense of humor.
Yeah. And
pulling
That's
faces
great.
and
Oh yeah, yeah.
cracking jokes.
Yeah, and there's a couple of bits of him cracking it at Phil Spector. I've seen that.
Yeah.
Quite funny.
Yeah.
You could imagine John used to have a temper, he used to be a comedian, but he had a temper as well. So yeah,
That's a cool pick.
I love this one. Obviously the guitar duo of the Beatles there. I love that George actually played on this record. I think not that he played on every single song, but I love the fact that he contributed to about 5 songs just because he wanted to. It came out of a jam session with John, and he said, "Okay, I'll play on your album." I thought that was very cool.
Look how skinny George is in the height of his aesthetic practices.
Yes.
Then in the early 70s.
Yeah. He certainly wired up quite a bit, didn't he? I mean, he was always it wasn't always a big stocky build or anything anyway, but yeah. But he always had a cool look about him with the goatee or long hair, and he's got that sort of look about him. I love that picture of him playing the Les Paul there in that session.
That's
very cool.
Lucy.
Rocky. Huh? Lucy, yeah.
Lucy.
Les Paul.
Yeah. It's very cool that they still got those guitars from the Beatles days, which is very cool.
That's the one that Clapton gave him. Is that correct?
Yeah, and he gave I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah. No. Family show, bro.
Yep.
He traded the guitar for the missus. I said it. Brad can't.
Got me on my knees,
Layla. I'm begging, darling, please.
That's a fair trade, though. That's a beautiful guitar.
It's a fair trade. Yeah, fair trade, all right. Well done, bro. Side 2.
Yeah. So where are we up to, guys? We're up to track 6. Is that right? Yes.
Sir.
So the album sort of shifts a little bit on this side. I've noticed, gents, and I think that was the running order of the first album, the first side was done a certain way. So this side has got I don't know if that was intentional or what, but I find that back in these days, the first side was always a little bit of the stronger songs, and then the second side would be the more out there sort of stuff in the early 70s anyway. That's what I always found with albums. But the Rock Professor will probably prove me wrong here, as he always does. So, yeah. Oh My Love is the next track 7. And this was written with Yoko Ono, I believe. They both got writing contributions on this. It's a very minimalistic, tender love song. And Lennon's understated vocal and sparse arrangement on this come across like with a real emotional intimacy. The song's calm, it's got an openness to it, in contrast with the album's more politically charged or rock orientated tracks, highlighting Lennon's versatility. The vocal melody is very catchy, and it's a wonderful love song. Has as much, I feel, John and Yoko's relationship was not perfect. He brought out some wonderful loving landscapes for the song and for songs.
Brad, which song are you doing, Brad?
Oh My Love.
This doesn't. Oh, but you're not going to do Give Me Some Truth.
Oh, I missed it.
Sorry, I just this doesn't sound like Give Me Some Truth to me.
Oh my God. Sorry, guys.
No, that's all right. It's fine. Apologies for butting in.
I'm glad you butted in. Well, can we do this track now and then go back to the?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sorry, John. My notes have jumped ahead. Sorry about that, guys.
That's right.
Yeah, because I was thinking, because I remember the track 2 started off with a more sort of charged song.
Yeah. I'm reading my notes going, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's not what I've got.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm glad you brought that up. My apologies, deep apologies. I don't normally do that. That's
Okay, bro. Yeah, rusty.
A bit rusty. Out of practice. I think it's a great little song. It's packaged up really well in a very short little song. Beautiful piano playing on it and whatnot. I gave it 9 out of 10, guys, and never a skip. Andrew, yeah.
Sorry, bro. You
Oh
gonna
my
say something?
love.
Oh my love.
Yeah, that's fine. That's right.
So I don't know a lot about this song, but to my ear, it's easily something that could have sat in the Sergeant Pepper's sessions. It's just giving me that vibe, and I like that. I like that. I can pick these threads there, whether or not that's intentional, who knows. Delicate vocals, and again, I have to back up Simon when Simon mentioned it with Jealous Guy too. You don't need to yell and scream. You can just be close mic'd. And clearly Lennon was happy with his vocals after his experience with the Beatles. So he wasn't well. I don't think he was, because he wasn't doing a lot of double tracking. So he seemed that he was happy, Brad, with his vocals in his solo career. And this is a song that proves it to me. Love the lyrics. Again, the lyrics. Sometimes we can forget, when you consider some of the other songs on this album. There are some great lyrics, some average lyrics, and I put this up there with the great lyrics. I agree with you, Brad. It's a great love song, and for that reason, I've given it 8.5 out of 10. Rock Professor.
Yeah, I don't have much to add to that. I think that it's
see you drops.
Yeah, I mean good night, drops. Sleep well. Good to see you. I mean, the thing that it reminded you of was, of course, that nobody writes a tune quite like Lennon. In a fantastic way with melody and with creating a tune. And we've talked about some of them already. Jealous Guy, Imagine. They're great. Whatever else they are, they're great tunes. Memorable. And I think that being able to conjure up those, is a skill and an art all of itself. So, and this is another one in that thing. Ballad. Again, you've got the guitar which picks out the melody at the beginning, but as Andrew said, it's kind of delicate and it's not overblown. It's bringing out my prejudice against Whitney Houston. I like the understated way of singing and not throwing everything at the kitchen sink. I feel much more comfortable with that as a way of presenting a song than I do the warbling sort of 90s vibrato. But it's not really. And I like the sort of soft falsetto that he does and things.
Yeah,
I think it adds considerably to the feel of the song, and absolutely. So I think that it's a 8.5 out of 10 from me, and never a skip. I think it's a lovely song, and I think Lennon should be commended for his restraint.
Yes,
Brad,
I agree. So we're going to go backwards. We're going to rewind.
Yeah,
don't worry. He can fix in editing.
The first track of side 2, which I think is a pretty cool song. Where are we? Give me some truth. I apologize about this, guys, because my notes are there and I skipped past it and I went to the next track. So, so this one features George Harrison again, and it's some of George's, more grittier sort of playing on the album, which I really enjoy. Obviously, we love George Harrison here. It's a politically charged rocker. This one. It's I think this was first hinted at during the Let It Be sessions, which you see in Get Back, on the Get Back sessions. The song attacks, the hypocrisy, lies, and political deception with sharp, direct lyrics. Harrison's slide guitar and Lennon's aggressive vocal phrasing give it a real cutting edge, while the rhythm section drives the urgency. The track showcases Lennon's ability to blend melody with pointed social commentary, and he adds a real grit to his voice in this one, and I really love it when Lennon really gives it vocally. He doesn't go for perfection, but he really goes for to get the message across vocally. I think, it's an outstanding slide performance here from George Harrison. The solo is, outstanding, and the lyrics are great vocal delivery, as I said. It could be fitting a little bit in today's political climate as well, with everything that's going on in the world. So, but because of the song's message and the delivery and George Harrison's slide work, I've given it 100 out of 10, guys, and never a skip. Andrew.
Hey, kaboom.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is the protest song that works. I don't want to be a soldier doesn't work. The message there didn't work for me, but this works, and this resonates exactly with the situation that we've been confronted with globally over the last 5 years. And it's a plea, that you would expect John Lennon around this time, and maybe from 68 onwards, certainly, give me some truth, man. I dig that, it's a plea for truth.
Yeah.
And that's a great protest song, because, we got to be asking for that. We've got to continue to ask for it. We just can't be continually spoon-fed. Don't rely on being spoon-fed. And this is what Lennon and these guys are singing about, Yes, we've got to take some self-responsibility, but they're also directing it to, the apparatus, as they say, the superstructure, as they say. And I dig that. This is, Brad, this is the protest song that works.
Yes.
And that's worth points. And also George Harrison's contribution on this too. And George was like that too. So let's not forget too. Don't fall asleep and think that George was a hippie, and this Indian yogi somewhere sitting up in Friar Park. He knew what was going on.
Yes.
Concert for Bangladesh and all that. He knew shit was going down. So he would have been digging into this song too for that reason. So Brad, for that reason, I've given it a 10 out of 10 because it has not dated. Give me some truth, man. Simon.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It's as opposite today as it's ever been, isn't it? And the age that we live in of misinformation and things. It's interesting. It's called "Give Me Some Truth," not all of it, just some of it. Okay, not too much.
That is true.
Well,
Yes.
it's I think that's give you the whole truth is more difficult than some truth, but it's very, it's not really a lush production. It's very, very raw, very nice, and that suits the message that he's putting across. I agree with Andrew. I think this really works as a protest song and stuff, and has resonance across the years to now. So I'm giving it 10 out of 10 as well. Absolutely, never a skip.
Well done.
It's works definitely. Brad,
Well done.
Where are we now?
Well, I think I'm going to go. We're in order from this song onwards. How do you sleep?
How do you sleep?
Yes. How do you sleep?
Okay.
I'll try and keep this one as short as possible and leave as much room for you gentlemen. I've been trying to do that the whole show, so didn't want to steal the limelight too much and just ramble like I normally do. But how do you sleep? This is John. He's written this song, and it's probably the most overtly confrontational song on the album. Really, it was written as a direct response to McCartney perceives you know, McCartney's perceived slants and attack on Ram towards Lennon and Yoko. And musically, it's an assertive rock track with driving guitars and, tight rhythm section. Harrison's slide guitar adds bitterness, enhancing, that sort of tone towards McCartney. So I guess, Harrison might have been feeling similar towards McCartney because of the legal issues that they were going through. Despite the anger, Lennon later framed it as a creative outlet rather than a personal vendetta. But it was obviously a direct attack at Paul McCartney through, things that he thought the song was written about towards Yoko and John on Ram. There's some outstanding guitar work on this, and George Harrison, he proves his amazing ability as a slide player. And some of my favourite slide playing that George has ever done on this track. Great lyrics and great vocal delivery. The musicianship on this is outstanding. I love the bass playing, the drumming. Just love the groove that's locked in. It's got that real, sleazy, laid-back feel about it. There's a lot going on there. I really enjoy the piano work, the Wurlitzer electric piano that Nicky Hopkins is doing. It's just fantastic, and I really enjoy, like, at the start of the track, it's got the little piece there you would think would be off Sgt. Pepper. Like it's got that sort of intro bit that sort of sounds like it was a leftover bit from the intro of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band or something. Elvis thrown that at the start there. I've heard a fair few versions of this track floating around, like, take one, take twos, whatever they are, and the evolution of this track. I think every take I've seen of it, including the video footage of it, is outstanding. But I really think they captured magic on this one. You can tell it's recorded predominantly live, and I love that. I think this is my favorite song on the album. As much as I love McCartney, I just love the track, and I love the lyrical content. It's very clever lyrics. If you were ever going to have, an attack at Paul McCartney and you're John Lennon, to say, a pretty face will last a year or two, but pretty soon we'll see what you can do. That's pretty harsh. You know what I mean? So he really had to go at, instead of McCartney sort of maybe taking a few little stabs here and there, he really went for it. And that's in true John Lennon fashion. He wouldn't muck around. He always went for the throat lyrically. So 100 out of 10, guys, and never skip. Andrew.
Yeah, it's definitely Lennon firing a shot across the bow. And, Lennon was always going to do that ever since they split the band. Well, the band split up. Not only Ram, that wasn't the only issue, Brad. Lots of interviews that, that Paul gave over the year or so, himself fired barbs, so a lot of pressure has been put on Lennon, that Lennon was, trying to destroy the Beatles myth. Paul was too. Paul tried to, tear it down a little bit. And, I just want to give people an aside. There's a new Paul McCartney documentary coming out, so we'll probably be going to see that, and we'll probably come here and share a little bit of some thoughts. And I expect there'll be probably some mentioning of this era that we're talking about, that was the catalyst for Paul to go and do his own thing. So I agree. It's autobiographical, isn't it? Because it's about John Lennon's thoughts and relationship with Paul McCartney. Very clever, as you said. Great wordsmith. And he could have come out and said, "You're a dickhead."
Yeah.
It could, but he didn't. TikTok. Hey, Bob Dobalina, my brother. Good to see you.
Morning, Bob.
He could have easily have done that, but he didn't. I agree with you, Brad. It sounds, again, it's another track that sort of fits into that Sergeant Pepper mode. Again, that's intentional. And I'm going to add too. I reckon George would have been there too, stoking the fire, because George had a bit of an axe to grind around this time too with Paul as well. Being pushed away, and and George believed that Paul was the main reason why a lot of his songs weren't being accepted, because John couldn't give a shit. John wasn't doing anything. Was he? He was too busy stoned off his nut there for a long time. So I reckon George would have been happy going, we're crafting something. Look, and that's a great history, from the song. I've given it 9.5 out of 10, and I reckon Paul probably looks back on that song now and thinks, yeah, you're probably right, mate. I was a bit of a dickhead. Simon.
Yeah. Well, those sort of conflicts bring out the worst in people, don't they? Not the best. And the end of the Beatles, I'm sure, was a very difficult period for them all. And it's I mean, sad thing, McCartney started it, and Lennon finished it, kind of thing. But in some ways, I feel very sympathetic. Somebody has a go at your wife. You're kind of duty bound to sort of fight back, aren't you? As a thing. So I completely understand where Lennon's coming from, and I think that you're right, Brad. That orchestra tuning up at the beginning, and then he references Sergeant Pepper, doesn't he, in the first couple of lines of the song. I too made a note of that as well, thinking, that is just sort of something they would have done in the Beatles, and go into it. And I think I like the kind of ominous guitar chords as well, with it under the orchestra and things, because they give it tension and stuff. And but it never goes over into a sort of into sort of major shouty rant, does it? It's quite calculated. It's quite, there's a bit of reserve there, and in the emotion that's being expressed, which I think gives it more power, not less. As you said, Harrison does a kind of extended solo, does an extended slide solo. If you want to know about minimalist playing, check this out, because there's not millions of notes, but it's beautifully played, and you just know that it's Harrison from the first note, don't you?
Oh, 100%.
Did you? I don't know if did you have a go at, talking of that? Did you have a go at that Rick Beato thing, where you've got to try and tell the guitarist in the first note?
I did see that.
Did you see that? It's worth a try. It's funny.
Yeah.
I was hopeless. I think I got the first two, and then I was flummoxed for the rest of it. But with Harrison, you completely hear the one note, and you go, "That's Harrison."
Yeah.
And as you said, some nice electric piano to finish it off. So I gave this 9.5 out of 10. Never a skip. I think it's it really holds up these days.
The other lyric that I thought was, I mean, all the lyrics, like you said, Andrew, wordsmith, but imagine what McCartney probably thought when he heard "the only thing you've done is yesterday, and since you've gone, you're just another day."
Whoa!
Wow, that's harsh.
I know.
There was some harsh words.
So as Brad said, folks, if you're watching on the replay, go and check it out if you want to. If you want to hear, and there was absolutely no ambiguity when that album was dropped, who he was talking about. He wasn't talking about Eric Clapton.
No, well, it's you couldn't think it's about anyone else but Paul McCartney. So anyway, so from that song, "How Do You Sleep?" then the next song is "How." Always thought
I spotted that until now, Brad. That's really good. Yeah. How do you sleep? How? What?
How do you sleep? How? Like a question mark. I always thought that was very funny. How it's a reflective and sort of song, Lennon questioning, things, and his vocals explore the uncertainties of his lyrics, and vocals explore the uncertainties of life. The gentle piano, the textures, the restrained rhythm section. It's kind of creating a really mellow, sort of atmospheric feel to the song. It's introspective, Lennon being introspective and showing a little bit of his introspective side, balancing the album's activism and romance out. There's some very simple but tight musicianship here, and I think that to note that the musicians, again, top tier musicianship. Sometimes to play this simply on a song is very hard. It's not that easy. Great lyrics and great vocal delivery. I used to sometimes skip this track as a boy, when I was sitting getting into the Beatles and Lennon's solo stuff. But I give it an 8 out of 10, guys, and never skip. Andrew?
Yeah, it's an interesting song. It's a filler song, Brad, and I too dig the connection that you made between how to now.
Mm.
So fantastic, well done. I see. I've got to get time out there from Helen because she's obviously come back.
We're all in trouble.
5 out of. Well, you're not going to be happy with this score, Helen, Ellen, as well, because look, who's playing the keyboards on this?
I think, hang on, I've got it written in here. It is Nicky Hopkins
Lennon?
on piano. Lennon's,
Yeah.
It's just Nicky Hopkins for me, but
Nicky?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I dig the keyboards. I've made a couple of notes. Simon, like you, I don't always particularly enjoy the orchestra when it's on rock and roll, but there's been some great examples over the years where it's worked, and a shitload of examples where it hasn't worked. And on this track, I'm going to give it a bit of slack and say, it's worked, and this is maybe where Mr. Toupe's got his way. Simon, do you think?
Could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
It's I think the strings on here suit it better than the rock and roll thing earlier.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, 100%. and okay, so that's good. Because I agree. I think that works, and that's worth a point, Brad. Because the maestro who invented the wall of sound has to have a component of that included, and orchestration was certainly it, wasn't it? It was one of the key components of defining that production technique. What else have I got here? No, I'm not going to say that. I've given this 8 out of 10, Brad. 8 out of 10, and never a skip. But I love the production on this track. It's cool. Simon.
Yes, I mean, I think that what they're doing musically reflects, his questioning of all sorts of things. I think that it's pretty simple chord progression, and goes around without kind of resolution, really. I think that the fact that the drums, there's not really a strong rhythmic anchor. The drums come in and out all the time, so that kind of adds to the musically to that questioning feel of, and that kind of just nothing feels settled, in a way. So stability. It's all not very stable, and and I think that he sings really well. I think his vocal delivery, sounds like he feels genuinely lost about a lot of things. Again, I think the orchestra works much better on here, really, just, with the piano, bass, drums, and the orchestra. I think it fits in better. It's quite filmic in its construction. I can see it. You can use it on film scores and things. For me, also, like you guys, I think a bit of a filler song for me, but good. It's sort of a. So I gave it 7.5 out of 10, but I wouldn't skip it. It's fine.
Peaceful.
Yeah, it's one of those introspective sort of little ditties you probably just sat around writing, and it was, I'll put this on the album to, second last song,
Well, as we've said quite a lot, you've got to have contrast, you've got to have differences,
Sure.
you can't. It's very difficult to make an album of Imagines. You've got to make contrast, you've got to make different, and the way that the album is put together has got to have some dynamic contrast to it. And
can I just also remind you, Simon, too, that in the early 70s, stars from the 60s were allowed to do this stuff. They were allowed, they didn't have anything to prove. So I look, we can go out and dig half a dozen examples where they did this. So there was nothing to prove. So almost like, Simon, it was cathartic. What's the word? Cathartic.
Cathartic. Yeah. Well, cathartic, and in the words of the great Tom Petty, the future was wide open. There was nothing that was.
Who knows what John was going to do after this? Yeah, good point.
Yeah. Well, I think it's really important that we, when you're looking at this era, that that there weren't any rules. You could do what you wanted. You were still at a time when artists could be artists, and the record companies hadn't really got so much control. And if I want to have string, and I want to do this, I want to do that, then I'm going to do it, and I'm going to have, very much these days, if you make an album, it can, modern albums, to me, one of the criticisms I have is that often they're very homogenous in terms of sound.
Yeah.
You've heard the first 3 tracks, you've heard the album because you understand that's what they're doing and that's where they're going and stuff.
Can't accuse this album of that.
Yeah, no, well, indeed not. And it musically is, goes to different places, different setup. And that to me is a good thing. So it's, although I feel this is a slighter song in terms of against Imagine, I'm not skipping it. I'm not, sure. I'm not. And it's worthy of its place on the album for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was long diatribe.
It's okay.
That's all right.
You're allowed.
Brad.
We dig it. We dig it.
we dig it. Yeah. So we come to the last track, gentlemen, called Oh Yoko. So we all know who this is written about. And yes. Obviously, it's my analysis of this is it's a joyous love song dedicated to Yoko Ono. It closes the album on a slightly uplifting note. Lennon's harmonica and guitar interplay, it's playful. It's got the melodic texture. The song's lightness contrasts with the heavier political stuff on the earlier part of the album. I think EMI might have suggested this as a single, but Lennon felt it was too pop. There's some nice harmonica playing on it, decent vocal delivery, and I'll be honest with you, I've listened to some of the evolutions and stuff of this song, and I think it was started off probably sounding a little better than it probably finished. I think it's a fun song. I guess you got to put it in the context. It was having a bit of fun. I've heard versions of him mucking around singing, in the middle of a shit, I call your name and things like that. But
nobody wants that in a song, Brad. Could I just say?
To be honest with you, it's not my favorite song. I definitely used to skip it 100% every single time listening to this record. I'm going to give it a little bit more marks because I think musically it's a very, very cool song. It's got musically, there's a lot of great musicianship on it. And I understand Lennon's relationship now with Yoko a little better. I think it was a very toxic sort of codependent at times relationship. But, John was in love, and for right or for wrong, he wrote a love song that was a silly little song probably wrote it for her and for no one else and threw it on the album. That's what we're sort of listening to. I gave it 6 out of 10, guys, and never a skip. Andrew.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's the perfect song for John Lennon to end this album with, to his partner, you know. So
Yeah,
you know, he loved singing about what's that song, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful boy, to Sean. You know, he wrote that song, Sean, and spinning wheels. I'm just watching the wheels go. You know, so you know, he loved singing about people he knew. Just a couple of songs ago, he's berating his songwriting mate that helped make millions for him, you know, in a song. So, you know, this is John Lennon, folks, you know, like all great English poets, you know, writing about his life and things that are going on, you know, and you can take that and interpret that the way that you want. It's not a love song, you know. You know, Jealous Guy is the love song. It's a bit of fun. You're right, Brad. And John loved the song, so that's probably worth a couple of points.
Yeah.
I've given it I've given it 7 out of 10. You know, because you know, God bless John Lennon.
Yeah,
Simon.
Yeah. I sort of bright up tempo, as you said, kind of folk pop song. You know, reminds me of a group called Lindisfarne a bit as well. That kind of that strummy thing that they had. If anyone knows who Lindisfarne.
Yes, he did too. Yes.
Yeah. Alan Hull as but I think, you know, I think it's particularly attractive actually, and I think, you know, putting this bright poppy song, and it's and you know, with the harp as well, that's a kind of unique, you know, the harp's not on any of the other tracks, I don't think. So it's got some you know, completely different vibe to the rest of the track, as I say, with that very folky thing. And I like the fact, you know, when he says "my love will turn you on," and he stretches it out so it's twice the length halfway through. So that's pretty neat.
It was very cool at singing about turning things on and whatnot.
Yeah,
day in the life.
Yes, and all of that, you know, absolutely has a link back to that. You know, it's a kind of, it has a major key kind of cheerfulness that that sort of bounces along. Yeah, I gave it 8 out of 10, and not a skip. I enjoy it as a song. I think it has a simplicity that is very Lennon, and gets his message across. You know, so hit, ding.
Well done.
Yeah. So yeah, good album, interesting album. I mean, I haven't listened to it for ages, so it's really good to go back to it and you know, and listen to it again, dig it out.
Well, this is where I'm going to do my intro that I never did. It's been years, Simon and Brad, since I've listened to this album. I bought this album when I was a Beatles fan. It was in the secondhand bin, Simon, for $1. So I bought it, you know, along with the plastic. I know you know, because you wanted, you know, you were buying these cheap secondhand albums because you wanted to hear what the Beatles were singing about. But you know, it didn't grab me. Didn't grab me like All Things Must Pass did, you know, when I first heard that. And it didn't grab me like Band on the Run did, you know. But you know, it's an important album, and it's got some great songs. And Brad, thank you for letting me go back and listen to at least half these songs.
Yeah,
that I probably would never have listened to for the in the rest of my years that God's going to give me here. So thank you for that, brother.
Well, hopefully it encourages you to go back and listen to more. You know what I mean? That I mean, look, at the end of the day, for better or for worse, he was a Beatle. He wrote songs, and I think there's some good stuff on this album. I think, you know, and it's an important album that we needed to touch on. I wanted to do it last year, and as it sort of turns out, we always find something else to do, or something pops up, or an anniversary, or something like that. So we decided I never brought it up. So thank you for indulging me with this one. Like I said during the show, I've at times I listen to the Beatles religiously, weekly, monthly, whatever, and sometimes I forget that they had a solo career, and I go and listen to their solo stuff every now and again. And I enjoy doing that. A lot of time I've been spending over the last few months is in and out of planes and airports and things like that. And a lot of the time I listen to music, and I've just been listening to their solo stuff, just sitting around in the plane, in airports, sitting around waiting, listening to their solo stuff for something different. And I got a bit inspired. So thank you guys for letting me rank this one.
No problem, and I appreciate it, because you might remember not last year, the year before, I told you guys that I was going to make a mission of listening to every Paul McCartney solo album, over the year.
Yes.
And I did that, and that was pretty painful.
Look,
Yeah.
he didn't do, he did some good stuff, and he did some not so good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it makes for great concerts, and it makes for great films, and it makes for great greatest hits albums. Yeah. So, like I said to you folks, we're not back here next week because I've got some family business to do, but we'll be back the week after. I'm going to put a show card up. I am going to tell you the subject of the album that we're going to do. And I suppose, you guys know, it's the British Electric Blues Show, also known as the 5150 Show. This channel was built on Eric Clapton. So, we've picked out an early 70s album from John. Good on you, Simon. I'm
wearing it today.
There's still a few more of those rusty, cobbly Clapton albums, guys, that we've still got to tick off the list.
Before we get to Old Sock.
Yes. So, yeah. Because that is one mission, guys, that we made that we would do every Clapton album. So we're getting there. So I'm just gonna Old Sock Simon will be the last one we do ever.
Ever? What, we're never doing another show after that? It will be the nadir of this show. We give it everything a naught and leave.
Yes. Old Sock will be. Yeah.
The straw that broke us.
Yeah. So look. I'm going to go and dig out a Clapton. We don't have too many 70. I think we've done pretty much most of the 70 albums, but I think there's a couple there that we haven't done. So.
Yeah. Well, fine. Yeah. Dig out. Let's get back. Let's get to Eric. It's already February. We haven't done any Eric.
Uncle Eric. Thank you, Brad. Thank you, bro, for coming back, and thank you for giving us an opportunity to dig this album out. And we've got a couple of missions, for the channel. So obviously we're going to keep up to date with the Beatles film as we hear it, and we're going to get together and probably do some impromptu shows talking about information as it comes through. We're going to talk about the Eddie Van Halen film, if we hear anything, or if it is a goer. And we'll certainly be going to see the Paul McCartney movie, which is out end of this month, guys. I understand.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely go and see that. 100%.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Because like we've just agreed before, Paul McCartney had nothing to prove when he formed Wings. Had nothing to prove. Yep.
No, that's true. And I'll just say that the Bruce Springsteen movie, Reasons to Believe, is on Disney Plus. Go
and check it out if you haven't.
Yeah, if you haven't, it's really good. It's a really good movie.
Awesome.
All right, Simon, do you want to do a shout out, Rock Professor? And we'll
let's do a shout out to the peeps.
Go and do some things.
And the things, yes. And so, what does this button do? What a great! That's a great non-defleating.
Don't push it.
Don't push it. So thanks to Ellen, of course, who's enjoying her birthday, hopefully. And
Happy birthday.
Tony Bowen as well. Nice to see you, Tony.
Good to see you, Tony.
Yeah. Bob Dobolina.
Rubenski, my mate Ruben.
That's good. Thanks for dropping by, Ruben. Drops Homestead as well. Nice to see you, Drops. It was been a while, but it's fantastic. Dwight Bailey as well. Nice to see you dropping in, Dwight. If you don't know what Dwight does, he does lots of sort of songs, instrumental stuff, but he really goes for it. So have a look at that.
Cool
Arvin, of course, and Gretch as well. Thanks, guys, for your continued support every week. It's really great to see you, and I hope you're well. Great. And then who do we have at the top? So hopefully that's everybody. Gretch and Arvin. Have a great week, everyone, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for something by Eric is Derek. Stay well, everyone. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
It won't be old sock.
Goodness for that.